With one phone call, Vegas stopped breathing. Slot machines freeze mid-spin. Hotel keycards stop working. The sound of coins and laughter collapses into silence. On surveillance screens deep inside MGM Resorts, an IT manager watches the chaos unfold. Jackpots halted, elevators stuck, guests stranded in hallways lined with neon emergency lights. In less than 10 minutes, billions of dollars in digital systems fall to their knees. Far from the desert, a teenager laughs quietly in a dark bedroom. LED lights pulse against a face too young to buy a beer, fingers dancing across a stolen interface. One message flashes on screen: "We're in. The Strip, the symbol of excess, power, and control, has been breached, not by foreign spies or master criminals, but by kids who learned to scam online help desks. Teenagers who turned social engineering into a weapon. How did they do it? And how did a few Discord calls bring down one of the biggest casino empires on Earth?" The story begins not in a casino vault or a government office, but in the chat rooms of the internet's underbelly. Scattered Spider wasn't a single hacker. It was a loose swarm teenagers, mostly American and British, meeting through Telegram and gaming servers. They weren't coders in hoodies surrounded by wires. They were digital chameleons, fluent in the new art of deception, social engineering. Unlike traditional hackers, they didn't need to write a single line of code. They picked up the phone. Using fake identities, they called IT support lines at massive corporations, pretending to be senior employees locked out of accounts. With charm and confidence, sometimes even with fake accents, they convinced real staff to reset credentials and grant them privileged access. From there, they slipped quietly into the core systems: Microsoft 365, Okta, Slack, even cybersecurity dashboards. By 2022, Scattered Spider had already made headlines. They breached Uber, Rockstar Games, and Caesars Entertainment, each time exploiting human error, not software flaws. But it was September 2023 that made them legends. The target was MGM Resorts International, one of the most powerful names on the Las Vegas Strip. Over 30 hotels, hundreds of restaurants, and a digital empire that never sleeps. The attack wasn't random, it was surgical. A teenage member posed as an employee, convincing MGM's IT help desk to reset credentials for a privileged user. Within hours, the hackers gained domain admin access, the master key to MGM's digital kingdom. And when they pulled that lever, everything went dark. Slot machines stopped mid-spin, guests couldn't check in, payment systems went offline. MGM's digital nervous system, its crown jewel, was paralyzed. The company lost over $100 million in revenue. But the greater damage was invisible. Trust, reputation, the myth that Vegas was untouchable. These weren't hardened cybercriminals from some far-off state. They were teenagers, some still living with their parents, others juggling high school and hacking. They called it asterisk. Vishing voice phishing, a con so simple it exposed the fragility of billion-dollar security systems. In a single week, Scattered Spider became the embodiment of a terrifying new truth. You don't need guns, malware, or armies to bring down an empire, just confidence, a voice, and the right phone number. Sunday night, September 10th, 2023. Las Vegas was glowing, alive, the hum of air conditioning, the clatter of dice, the mechanical whir of slot machines, blending into a single, endless pulse. Then, just after 10 p.m., the pulse stuttered, screens flickered, froze, and went black. At first, no one noticed. Guests thought it was a glitch, a few machines rebooting, but then keycards stopped working. Room doors wouldn't unlock. The MGM Grand's reservation system failed. Elevators jammed between floors. Employees tried to log in, locked out. Somewhere in the network, a teenager was already inside. The entry point, an IT support call, answered by a tired technician on the other end of the country. The caller, posing as an MGM staffer, was polite, confident, even apologetic. "Hey, I'm locked out of my account. I'm supposed to help with a server rollout tonight." Within minutes, the technician reset the credentials. The hacker smiled. One password was all it took. By dawn, they had admin-level access across the corporate network. They moved laterally into financial databases, casino management systems, and internal email. Logs later showed the intrusion was surgical. They didn't deface websites or brag on social media. They explored silently, mapping out MGM's empire from the inside. Then came the shutdown. Entire casino floors froze. Employees scribbled customer details on paper. Guests in luxury suites couldn't order room service. Digital door locks failed across properties from Mandalay Bay to Bellagio. Security cameras glitched, elevators hung motionless, and ATMs spat out errors. Outside, tourists live-streamed the chaos, hashtagging it #VegasDown. Inside, executives scrambled to contain what they didn't yet understand. They called federal agents. Cybersecurity consultants flew in overnight. The FBI's cyber division traced clues back to a group with a familiar signature, Scattered Spider. The hackers didn't just breach MGM, they humiliated it. They proved that the world's most connected city could be unplugged by teenagers with iPhones. As engineers fought to rebuild, another message appeared in MGM's systems. Pay us, or we'll release everything. But MGM refused, and that decision turned a hack into a war. In the smoky boardrooms above the silent casino floors, MGM's crisis team gathered. The air was thick, not just with tension, but disbelief. The Strip had survived recessions, mob wars, and the pandemic. But this was something no one could see, no one could fight. A message blinked on a secured terminal. We have control. Pay, and we restore access. Ignore us, and we'll dump your data. The ransom wasn't the problem. MGM could afford it. The problem was precedent. Paying would mark them as prey. So, the executives made a choice. No negotiations. They pulled the plug literally. Entire data centers went offline. Hotel systems, booking servers, gaming networks all shut down to stop the digital infection from spreading. It was triage, digital amputation, but it came at a price. Las Vegas went dark for 10 straight days. Guests lined up for manual check-ins, room keys printed like it was 1,998. Slot attendants, hand-paid winnings with calculators. Digital menus turned to paper. Every swipe, every tap, every luxury of automation gone. The hackers, furious, retaliated. They began leaking internal files, names, employee records, even snippets of source code to prove they weren't bluffing. Screenshots spread across underground forums like wildfire. Cybersecurity researchers confirmed the breach's signature belonged to Scattered Spider, an affiliate of the ransomware cartel ALPHV, Black Cat. But unlike most ransomware crews, Scattered Spider wasn't driven by ideology or espionage. They were thrill seekers, digital vandals with a taste for chaos. They bragged on Telegram about how easily they'd fooled corporate dinosaurs. One message read, "They still think security means firewalls. We just call support." While MGM burned, Caesars Entertainment, another Vegas giant, was hit by the same group, but Caesars chose a different path. Quietly, discreetly, they paid around $15 million. Their systems stayed online. The news barely made headlines. MGM, meanwhile, was bleeding. Analysts estimated daily losses at $8.4 million. Lawsuits were brewing. Angry customers flooded social media with videos of broken machines and dead screens. Every minute the company refused to pay, it lost not just money, but control. Still, MGM's top brass held the line. "We won't be extorted," one executive told reporters. "We'll rebuild." But behind closed doors, some asked a harder question. Was this courage or pride? Because out in the shadows, Scattered Spider was already planning the next move. They weren't ghosts in hoodies or faceless figures in dark basements. They were kids, barely adults. Some were still living with their parents, others juggling high school classes with high-stakes hacking. They met online, not in secret labs or criminal circles, but in Discord servers, gaming chats, and Telegram groups filled with inside jokes and chaos. That's where Scattered Spider was born. A new generation of cybercriminals that didn't fit the old mold. No complex malware, no elite programming. Their weapon was conversation, confidence, imitation, psychology. Members of the group learned to become someone else. They could mimic a company's help desk tone, spoof a corporate number, forge internal badges. When they called an IT support line, they sounded legitimate. Sometimes, they even used LinkedIn to research real employees down to their titles, email signatures, and birthdays. One 15-minute call could open a corporate fortress. Their method had a name: Vishing, voice, phishing. But unlike phishing emails, Vishing felt personal, direct, human. It preyed on empathy and haste, the two emotions every help desk worker knows too well. The youngest known member of Scattered Spider was just 16. Investigators believe several others were 19 or 20. They used fake passports, prepaid phones, and VPNs to hide their tracks. But they weren't always careful. Bragging screenshots surfaced online, taunting corporate victims with phrases like, "We didn't hack you, we just asked nicely." Their confidence came from a simple truth: no company was too big to fool. Uber, Rockstar Games, Nvidia, AT&T, and now MGM. Each breach reinforced their legend. But inside those online chat rooms, it wasn't fame they wanted, it was respect. Among peers, reputation was everything. Whoever pulled off the boldest breach earned the loudest applause. They called themselves social engineers, not hackers. They mocked traditional cybercriminals who used code or ransomware, saying, "Why write malware when you can make someone hand you the keys?" For law enforcement, incident. This made them a nightmare. There was no malware to trace, no servers to seize, no code to decrypt, just voices, confidence, and lies. And somewhere amid this chaotic network of teenagers and aliases, there were rumors of a ringleader, a voice on calls known only by a handle, a charismatic manipulator who taught them how to sound like professionals, how to play on tone, silence, and urgency. The same voice, investigators believe, that MGM's help desk agent heard the night everything began to fall apart. By the end of September 2023, the lights of Las Vegas were back on. The slot machines spun again, music returned to the lobbies, cocktails flowed, and the city resumed its glittering illusion of invincibility. But beneath the neon, something had changed forever. MGM Resorts had been humiliated publicly, globally, and irreversibly. The company admitted losses exceeding $100 million, yet the real wound wasn't financial, it was existential. A city built on control and surveillance, undone by a phone call. Executives spoke in measured tones on investor calls, promising enhanced security protocols and a swift recovery. But inside the company, panic gave way to paranoia. Every email, every login attempt, every phone call was now suspect. Staff joked bitterly that they were afraid to answer the phone. Federal investigators descended on Las Vegas. The FBI, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, and private firms like Mandiant were all pulled into the aftermath. They traced the attack's path across continents, VPNs from Europe, SIM cards from the US, and chatter linking Scattered Spider to ALPHV, a notorious ransomware syndicate with Russian connections. But the young hackers weren't hiding in dark bunkers or foreign countries. They were in bedrooms in small towns in the UK, California, and Arizona. Some investigators even identified them by their gaming handles. A few were already under watch for earlier corporate breaches. The arrests came quietly. No Hollywood raids, no gunfire, just subpoenas, digital forensics, and slow, methodical unmasking. But the damage was done. Cybersecurity experts called it a paradigm shift. For decades, corporations built firewalls, encryption, and biometric gates, yet all it took to bring a billion-dollar empire to its knees was a voice, a human flaw, a moment of misplaced trust. And that revelation sent shockwaves through industries worldwide. Hotels, airlines, hospitals, all began questioning their defenses. If Vegas could fall, who was safe? The attack became a cautionary tale whispered in boardrooms and classrooms alike. A story teachers told future IT professionals, remember MGM. But for the teenagers behind Scattered Spider, it was something else entirely. A badge of honor. Proof that they could shake the world with nothing but words. Some disappeared after the FBI began closing in. Others resurfaced under new aliases, boasting about fresh breaches. The cycle of hubris and chaos continued just as it always does in the digital underground. As for Las Vegas, it learned a hard truth. Even the brightest city on Earth can cast the darkest shadow online. And somewhere, in a bedroom lit by the cold glow of a monitor, another young voice whispers into a headset, "Hey, it's me again. I'm locked out of my account. Can you help me reset it?"